Welcome back to the Cedarshed factory. We're here with another, you guessed it, tutorial. We got Jason and Kevin giving us a hand once again, and they're going to show you how to install the walls on your Cedarshed kit. It's very important prior to installing the walls to do one final check to ensure that your floor is level. It's much easier to make adjustments now than waiting till the walls and you have weight. Ideally, with a long span, you will have a long level. If you don't, you can use a straight piece of lumber like we have to reach a farther span for more accuracy. Use the standard instruction manual along with the model specific side by side to install the walls. We'll start with the panel layout here on the model specific. We're using an 8x10 as an example, but this works for any shed. We have our blank walls, windows, and door layout. If you add extra options such as extra windows or doors, it's just going to replace the existing panels. In the standard manual here, it mentions attaching the headers prior to installing the walls. To install the headers, begin by identifying the correct pieces. There's two sizes, 2x3, 34.5, and 2x3, 46.5. Both these sizes are the same width of the walls. So we're going to start with the 3-foot panel from our model specific with the 34.5 long. Kevin's going to start by flushing up the edge of the top plate with the framing. Nice and smooth flush finish. Jason's going to secure it for him. After we flushed up the other side, we're going to do the same with this side. Attaching it flush to the edge of the wall stud. After flushing one side of the header to the 2x3 stud, if you find the other side isn't perfectly fitting flush, it is possible to make an adjustment by either flipping the panel on its edge, putting your foot down to secure it, and pushing down here. It will move up and down, or you can pull it up. Also, you can use a 2x3 spacer block. If you cut one just a little bit bigger than the span, that will drive the 2x3 stud out to flush it up. Just please be careful that if you're attaching a screw, that your hand isn't too close, that if the screw gun were to slip, that it could hurt you. But there is a little bit of adjustment. Softwood lumber is an imperfect material. The variance, it could dry, it can twist over time. So if you find it's not fitting flush, I think it's easiest to flush one side, flip the panel on its edge, and then you can use a little bit more leverage and weight than you can if it's on the ground. Just a little pro tip for any tricky panels if you run into them. After the header's installed, we're going to begin installing the blank walls on the gable end. So it's important on any shed, 6 foot, 8 foot, or 10 foot wide, that the walls go flush to framing on the gable end. We've installed it here. This side here, is the 8-foot side. This is where the gable end is going to go on our shed, and this long side here, this is the ridge. So we're on the gable end, as the manual says. This goes flush to framing on the gable end, and the panels on the ridge side are going to sandwich in between. So we've lined this up. On this shed, we have a joist trim board. This is included in the floor framing. So if you have a joist trim board in your kit, you want to go flush to the edge here. This is included in the framing. If you don't, you'll just go flush to the edge of your 2x4 here, rim joist, if you don't have one of these. Okay, so just to reiterate, this is the gable end. We have the panel flush, and we're going to fasten it down with the 3-inch yellow zinc. There is a joist here for the screw to go into, so if you're careful of where you're screwing, you can attach it into this joist. Go to the other end and flush it up here as well. Flush to framing and put another screw in. We're just going to put a couple screws to tack it. In case we have to make any adjustments later, it's easy to fix. Once we know everything's fitting well, we're going to come off and screw it down. After installing the first panel flush to our gable end, Just reiterate, this is where the peak goes. This is what I mean when I say gable. This is where the peak of our shed is. So you always start on any cedar shed kit flush to the gable end. We're going to put the next panel in. And the same thing, it's going to come all flush to framing here. So you can start putting it in place. Kevin's going to put a screw to tack it down. Flushed up the other end here to the framing as well, and we're going to just put another screw to hold it. After securing the second corner wall down to the floor, we're going to work on putting some screws to hold it from the inside, and we're going to flush it up. So we want these two walls to meet flush here. So I recommend you start on the bottom, middle, and top, and that way it'll allow you to pull the panel in and out to flush it up as you go. So Jason's going to hold it outside and move it for Kevin and make the adjustments. Well, Kevin is going to put a screw through the stud. So we're putting a 3-inch yellow zinc screw through the wall stud into the stud here behind. Okay, so we're going to come up to the middle now, and we can move the panel inside and out, as you see, to keep it flush. Finish by putting the last screw in the wall stud to secure it, and we just want to make sure that everything is nice and tight and flush here with the framing of the two wall panels. We are going to continue laying out the wall panels per the model specific diagram. Use a C-clamp to squeeze the walls together while installing the next one. This is going to take out any bows or crowns or twists in the lumber. It's just going to make it a lot easier to install. And allows you to go hands-free. We're going to use the 3-inch yellow screws just as we did in the corner before. Start in the bottom and work your way up to the middle, keeping it flush.
Are you flush, Jay? Yep.
On the outside and the inside you can check. Right now the panels still move. You can go in and out, but then the clamp is going to secure it. It's very difficult to install this without a clamp. I highly recommend using a clamp for this.
Your top, Jay?
What we want to do is try to keep this flush here at the joints, the top level here, which we have. We are just tacking this for now, bottom, middle, top. We're going to come back and put more screws later, but we're just dry fitting to make sure everything fits well first. It's very important to have your floor flush for the panels to meet flush at the top. Any dips or humps in the wall can cause issues at the joints. There's ways that can make it easier to flush it up on top. If you have some panels that aren't fitting, you can add little things like, say, a wedge cut on an angle at the bottom. This will raise it up to bring it flush for you to put your screw in, then you can take your wedge and the weight will settle it down. You could also use thin sticks for a shim. Just little tips and tricks we're offering that if you find things aren't perfectly fitting flush, if your floor is not perfectly level, you only had a 4-foot level, you didn't have a long one, the softwood lumbers, the variances aren't quite working out, just little tips and tricks as a carpenter that you can use to get these nice and flush. We installed the other corner panel using the same strategies as we did on the first one. Now we've arrived to the window panel. I just would like to mention the window panel already has your header installed, so you do not need to put one on, and you'll notice it's the same height as the wall panels. Once again, you can slide them together, flush everything up on framing on the bottom and the studs, and use your clamp to secure it tightly together. We're going to work on installing the final panel here on the ridge side. Just to show you though, on the outside we've been keeping the framing flush from the walls and the plates to the floor. When you get to the end here, you're going to be left with an opening to finish this off with the panels going flush to the end on the gables as the other side. It's approximately the same width as the walls, which is about 2.5 inches. If you find you have less or more, you can make an adjustment right now. As we only tacked a couple screws in each panel, it's really quick and easy to pull them out and slide it. If you find it's a little bit too much, you're far this way or you're too far that way, if you only tacked it with a couple screws, it's really quick and easy to pull 3-4 screws. Give it a little tap with your foot or a hammer. Get it where it is. If it's not fitting perfect, just split the difference. A little bit this side, a little bit that. It's framing. It's do your best you can. We're installing a 4-foot Dutch door frame next instead of a wall panel or a window panel. When your door comes in the package, it's going to look like this with the door floating loosely in. To install the door frame, you can start by removing the door pieces. After removing the doors, it's important to follow the standard instruction manual and to remove the bottom cleat from the door frame. As you can see here, there's a bottom cleat. It's just plywood and it's just slightly nailed or stapled in there to hold the door frame from moving. This piece needs to be removed. This half up here is the top. This stays. This is the part of the frame. This bottom cleat on the bottom is just a temporary cleat to hold it for shipping. This needs to be removed. We just used a hammer to knock it off, and we'll pull any remaining staples that are left. If you're having trouble taking the cleat off, use a flathead screwdriver for some leverage. Any remaining staples, you can use side cutters just to quickly pull them out. We're ready to install the door frame after we remove the remaining packaging material. After removing the cleat, we're going to install the door frame. Go ahead, guys. So that cedar trim that overhangs is going to come and fill in the reveal from the blank wall. The heights at the top match. And on the inside, everything will be flush to framing. Using our clamp to secure it and hold everything flush while we add 3-inch yellow screws. Go ahead, Kevin. We're going to use the same strategy as the walls. We're going to start on the bottom, work our way up to the middle, clamping, securing everything tight, keeping it flush, filling in any gaps here to keep this as tight as we can. To install the other side of the door frame, we're going to start by making the frame parallel. We're going to take the top measurement at the very top and we're going to make sure it's the same on the very bottom, because it's very hard to install a square door in a crooked hole. So right now we're trying to square everything up. Also, this is your last chance to ensure that your floor is level. It's very difficult to install the door with a floor that's not level. Also, another point, under your doorpost, this is just an example here, is you want to have patio stones and support on each post of your door. It's very important that that is supported, because that is going to carry the load, okay, through the opening. You can attach a screw into the plate, into the floor, and as well as you can add toenails on the angle here if you run out of room to put screws here. Just be careful not to drive it too deep to split the small piece. After installing our door frame level in parallel in measurement top and bottom, we're going to put on the final 3-foot panel. Once again, we're left with our 2.5 inches of space at the end. You can finish by installing off this final gable end, whether you have blank walls or a double door opening. You'll have the blank wall 001 and you'll put them in place, doing the same strategies, keeping everything flush to framing both sides. If you have a double door, please view our double door assembly tutorial on how to install that. If you have a standard shed kit with no wall height extension, Now is the time to install the top plates after your walls. If you have a wall extension, you have to install the wall extension first. So just to reiterate, if you have a standard shed kit with no wall extension add-on, you install the top plates. You can use that and do that by using the specific manual to find your sizes. And you have a diagram here in the standard manual. And to give you the representation here, what we want is they're just 2x3s, and we want to tie the corners in. So as you can see on the corner, this side is going to overlap and it's going to go flush to the outside. And then we can put screws in here, and this ties the corner in and strengthens it, while this other one butts in between. And it's going to be like that on all the corners. Your roofs are going to sit on your top plate, so it is important to try to get everything flush and to keep the measurements the same as the floor. If you ordered the wall height extension kit, you're going to have some wall height extensions that are 12 inches high. These are pony walls that are going to sit on top of the walls. So after we've installed the walls, before installing the top plates, we're going to install the wall height extensions. The wall height extensions are the same size and the same width as the blank walls. So we're just going to line them up perfectly, flush them up, and put some 3-inch screws. You can use your clamp again as well too to secure it. We're going to use the same strategies to install the infill walls and the wall extensions as we did the blank walls. Secure it together with the clamp, making everything flush, and putting a 3-inch screw. We're going to install a 34.5 wide panel next, matching the same width as the blank wall. So every infill wall on top of a blank wall will be the same size. Everything should line up. Your corner should look like this. Everything should be nice and flush the whole way, as uniform as though it was all one panel and wall. Add lots of 3-inch screws. 3-inch more screws is more strength, more engineering. After all the wall extensions are installed, now you put on your top plate to tie the corners in. We want the top plate to extend past onto the wall extension so we can drive 3-inch screws to tie the corner in. That's it for this tutorial for installing your walls, your Dutch doors, your windows, your wall extensions, and top plates. Please like and subscribe. If you have any comments, please leave them and leave any feedback. And if you've completed this tutorial, please move on to another one of our videos for the roof models, whether you have a skylight, cedar roof, or metal roof.